Hey everybody, today we're going to be making some window plant shelves that fit inside of your window frame for around $40. Let's get started. Hey everybody, like I said, this project's going to cost about $40 and you're only going to need 4 major supplies, and one of them is a piece of wood that I am measuring out right there. So I bought one 1x4 by 4. And what I'm doing is I'm measuring halfway down, so 2 feet down, and cutting it in half. And this is the only cut you have to make, which is really awesome. I went with a 1x4 for my shelves because my window sill, the frame itself, is about 5 inches deep. So a 1x6 would be too wide and it would run into the curtains and you risk knocking it over. So what I'm doing here is cutting my 1x4 in half, and then I lined them up and then just kind of trimmed the edges just a little bit so they would be exactly the same length. And then what I did is I measured 2.5 inches into the board and 1 3/4 inches down. I drew a line where those measurements were, and then where they intersected is where I'm going to put my spade bit. And I used a 1 1/4 inch spade bit because the rods I used were 1 inch, and I wanted to make sure they'd fit through the holes. Going 2.5 inches in, made sure I was far enough from the edges to prevent splitting of the wood, which I did on another piece as practice. And see right where I intersected those lines, that's where I'm drilling my holes. So anyway, 2.5 inches in gets you far enough away from the edge so you won't crack your wood down the middle. And then 1 3/4 inch down because a 1x4 is actually 1.5 by 3.5 inches. And the common measurement is 1x4. So you got to keep that in mind when measuring as well. So I am just drilling into these boards and making their holes. When you're finished with this, you're going to give it a good sand. Just get rid of any split ends or any splinters or anything. And then it would also be a good time to stain or paint it if you wanted to go one of those routes. I didn't do either because I liked how the natural wood looked with the black poles I got. And so the poles, what they are, you'll see them in a second, is they are curtain tension rods from Walmart. So you're going to want to measure the height of your window sill and get a curtain rod that will fit into it. And I think these were like 40-ish inches to 80 inches, and my window is like 59 inches tall. So these are perfect for it. And so all I did was slide the boards onto the tension rods and then place them into the window rather. And all you have to do is slide them on. We don't need to secure them yet. Right now we're just making sure the tension rods are secured. And what's great is, like I said, I got these at Walmart, and right now they're on sale for about $9 and they're normally $12. So I saved a little bit of money, which is pretty cool. It's important, and you see me fidgeting with these, it's important to make sure that they're level, basically. You don't want the tension to be too displaced, otherwise it might pop out or something like that, or disaster will strike. Then what I did, once they were even, I got my rubber insulation tape, which is one of the major things, and I cut a piece that wrapped around the tension rod once. And what I'm going to do is I'm sliding my shelf over that rubber insulation tape. And it's to kind of close the gap between the hole in the wood and the tension rod, and also give the clamp something to hold on to and create a little bit of friction for hold, or some science. But since these tension rods are plastic, there's my dog, that's Vito. Since these tension rods are plastic, I just wanted to also make sure there was something in between the tension rod and the clamp. So I didn't crack the rods, because that would also be bad. So all I'm doing, like I said, I'm just putting the tape on there, lining up the shelf, making sure it's even. And then, of course, making sure the curtain rods themselves are in place and aren't going anywhere. Now it's time to put on my clamps. And I did look at different clamps, and Lowe's actually didn't have the ones I was going to get, which was a great you know, surprise, I guess. And I got these other zinc ones that are for electrical cables. And I forget quite what they are called, but I'll link to them, and they're in my blog post as well about this. But they're metal, and I'll show close-ups of them in a second, but they're metal and they already come with the bolts you need to get than if you just bought regular clamps, and they were only a little over $2 each, which wasn't too bad at all. But they kind of like latch onto themselves, which was pretty cool. And like I said, they already come with the bolts to close them. And so they're nice and secure on there. Really heavy duty little things. And then also keep in mind with these curtain rods, I think the bag said that they hold 15 pounds each. So just watch what kind of clamps you use. You don't want to use anything too heavy. And then in the end, I ended up not putting heavy pots on there either. Like, I grabbed my most lightweight plants I had because I do not want this thing crashing down in the middle of the night. So really, all in all, total, there's probably like a pound of weight on these tension rods right now, which is fine because I just needed to get a few plants out of the way. And you'll notice I am only putting on one shelf. It's because I cracked the other one because I drilled the hole too close. So learn from my mistake. And so here's a close-up of it. You can see it gets plants out of the way. They're being held up levelly. You can see the insulation tape sticking out, and here's a close-up of the clamp. And so that long piece is like kind of like an arm, and it latches on to the right bolt, the rightmost bolt there. But they're really sturdy and nice, and I really love them, and I'm glad it ended up that I had to get those. And it's really hard filming in a big open window, but here it is. And you can see the rods in place, standing strong. I've got my super lightweight plants on there, and eventually I'll add that second shelf to put even more plants. But it's a really good way, if you're running out of plant storage, to get more plant storage. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.